So we are going to take the question from 2024 UPSC. This is part of applied international ethics, right? Where it is talking about in the context scenario of Ukraine-Russia war, right? The Israel-Gaza conflict that is going on, and what are the ethical implications over here. So let's break down the question. It mentions that it is not enough to talk about peace, one must believe in it. So while we are talking about peace, I've just broken this question over here. There was recent G7 summit, okay, and in this G7 summit, they were talking about de-escalation in Ukraine and Gaza, right? Because it is impacting a loss of life and property, right? On the other hand, we have seen that arms export has still been continued. So is it that all these talks which are happening about the peace, are these peace talks hollow talks or what? Is it not a dilemma? On one hand, you are talking about de-escalation, and on other hand, you are just continuing your arms sale. Similarly, in believing in peace, United Nations has recently, it has reaffirmed its commitment to Arms Trade Treaty. Okay, this Arms Trade Treaty is United Nations. It comes under United Nations, where they talk about the reducing of the conventional war weapons. Although it has given its reaffirmation over here, but still it is said that despite this, US had $20 billion arms sales to again where Israel. Okay. Acting upon peace. Recently, what Sweden did, whatever funds that it was supposed to give to Ukraine for the military help, instead of that, it had diverted those funds for the development of the Green Growth Initiative in its own country. So now the debate over here is about the national interest and supporting in the areas of the war-torn areas of Ukraine. Is it clear? So this is not enough talking about peace, believing in peace, or acting upon the peace. Because again, as the question mentions, the major weapon industries of developed nations are adversely influencing. So there is a report of Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is a aerospace. It is an aerospace defense organization which has said that it has seen an increase of 10% of funds in context of Ukraine-Russia war. Is it okay? So what is happening over here are the corporations filling in their coffers, are the corporations like Lockheed Martin and others, they are filling in their corporations or their own selfish interest, while the nations are trying to seek the solutions from the crisis which is going across. Apart from this, in terms of self-interest in the war, when we talk about France, that despite it has always talked about the ceasefire, right, in Gaza and Israel, despite that, we have seen that there has been increase in arms trade to Saudi Arabia. So you see, there is a kind of dichotomy we see over here. So what is the ethical duty, or what about the integrity in what are you saying and what are you doing in that area, right? So again, there is an ethical dilemma. Now the last thing over here, United Kingdom, it had mediated the Sudan peace talks, but what it has happened Also, simultaneously, it has approved the sale of weapons. So, how is it ethical that you are brokering for somebody's peace and you are also approving the arms license? So, these I have picked up from current affairs, the multiple dilemmas which I see in international ethics. Okay. Apart from this, I have also seen that there is a certain kind of moral duty of the nation against their own self-interest. The moral duty is to uphold the human life, uphold the dignity of human, protecting the vulnerable populations. Okay, so it is about the moral responsibility about peace, right, for the developed nation. Now, in comparison, this is to the nationalistic interest or their geopolitical interest or their economical profitable interest. So these kind of dilemmas are going in the international ethical scenario. So we can just discuss, you can pick up a few thinkers from here. We can just discuss 4 thinkers. First one over here will be Gandhi ji, when he is talking about non-violence resistant or the path of satyagraha and ahimsa along with moral consistency. Rabindranath Tagore, he talks about the concept of internationalism or Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, that world is but one country and mankind its citizen over here. These kind of principles have been governing our international ethics. And like the categorical imperative which Kant mostly says in his deontological perspective, he says that even the states, they should be governed by certain universal moral laws. Okay, apart from this, John Rawls, again, he talks about the equitable global governance across the world. So these ethical thinkers will come to rescue in our international ethics. Okay, apart from this, what do we see? The way forward can be seen in the ethical diplomacy and the governance. In India, we can see that during the time of non-alignment movement, it took a neutral stand and it was based on the principles of Panchsheel, right, and mutual respect and cooperation with other nations. Also, we see the kind of ethical diplomacy when India is sending, or India is one of those members who has the largest United Nations peacekeeping force. Apart from this, we have seen a Scandinavian model in Norway and Sweden. Basically, what happens over here is that they have developed a very stringent arms law. Okay. I hope in this question you had to actually break up into a lot of parts. So the ethical consideration over here is the moral responsibility or the moral duty of the developed nations, okay, against the moral duty of peace against their own selfish nationalistic interests.